Good day, grade 9. Today is our MAPEH Physical Education in 3rd quarter, week 5. My name is Reynaldo B. Malimban. And today's lesson we talk about the sports leadership. The annual sports activities of the community of our school games gave many students a chance to become a good athlete or the sports leader. The individual who is responsible for managing group or enterprise called manager or leader. The people of individual whose efforts indirected by manager are called the subordinates and exert authority effectively and carry out their responsibilities. And also the manager must have leadership, the ability to motivate the group or the team perform effectively a certain goal. Sport leadership is the ability of an individual, a teacher, athlete, or students to lead his team to perform effectively, to win, or to play as good athlete in sport competition. Now, in sports management, we involve the planning, organizing, developing, and conducting a sports activity to improve the athlete's performance or player and competence of the sports officials. So through the standardizations of all input and procedure to ensure success of the sports program. So the sports program of the school or community covers a variety of activities which is the aim of enhance the physical, social, and sociological development of each student. A sound sports program can only be attained through proper management of material and human resources. Material resources and facilities and include material used for sports. Human resources include the athletes who are participate in the sports program. So we have the three stages in the sound sports program are planning, execution, and evaluation. This can be achieved through competence of sports leaders and organizers who are well versed with the skills necessary for successful sports management. What are some factors to consider in sports management? Number 1 is physical and social conditions of participants and planners. Number 2, available material and financial resources. Number 3, environmental conditions. Number 4, weather conditions. And number 5, political conditions. Aside from that, we have the sports activities among the school today are: number 1 is the intramural games, 2 inter-school meets, 3 inter-district meets, 4 provincial meets, 5 regional meets, 6 national meets, and number 7 international meets. Now, what are some program community or committee? In a program committee is a successful organizations and management of the games and need for a executive committee headed by the chairman or in full chairman who are charged of the planning the overall program of activities during the competition. So the whole workload for the sport activity is divided among the different committees. Number 1 is the committee on program and invitation. What is this? It takes charge for the preparations of the program proper, the printing of the invitation, as well as the sending of invitation to all concerned. Number 2, the sports facilities and equipment committee. It decides on the venues of the games, sees to it that the facilities are in order, free from hazards or dangers. It prepares all necessary equipment before the games. Number 3, Committee on Peace and Order. It is in charge by maintaining peace and order and checks for security matters of all those who are seeking entry to the tournament site. Number 4, Committee on Discipline and Protest. It is solves and decides technical problems that may arise during the tournament and impose the necessary disciplinary measures. 5. Awards Committee. Awards Committee is the charge of taking the complete and official list of the winners and the awarding of medals, trophies, plaques, certificates, and others. And also the Technical Committee is in charge of each event and decides on violations committed either by individual players or by some team and settle on this according to the rules of the games. So the Technical Committee is composed of referee, the assistant referee, chairman of each event, and assisted by the co-chairman. Now, let's move on for intramurals. From the word intramurals was derived from the Latin word intra, which means within, and muras, which means walls. The intramural meaning which within the walls program provides students and staff the opportunity to become actively involved in a variety of organized sports, structured by different skills, levels, and conducted in safe environment. Intramural sports are the fun way to play, meet friends, learn new sports, and test your physical ability and relieve the stress of school and work. By the season of play, it's a generally round robin format, and playoffs are generally single elimination or double elimination formats. In requirements, rules, and regulations, there are games requirements and rules and registration in intramural activities. Number 1 is the eligibility requirements for intramural athletes. So the students all currently enrolled in school will be granted priority for registration of events. 2. Varsity athletes, professional athletes, and alumni are not ineligible in intramural competition in their sports during the academic year. Some rules and regulations are: number 1 is registrations. Players must be registered name, student's ID number, and address on the appropriate entry form, or what you call this, the birth certificate, and submit it to be eligible for competition. Number 2 is division and classification. No female shall be eligible for participation in a male division. Likewise, no male shall be eligible for participation in female division. Female or male students may participate for female and male division. Number 3 is identification. In identification card is the only acceptable or identification for participation in intramural sports. The fourth one is protest. Protest may be considered if the following procedures are followed. Any questions which concern the judgment of all officials or activity supervisor are not adequate grounds for protest. A protest will be considered only if it is involves a question of proper procedure and or error in the interpretations of a rule. So the decision rendered by the intramural coordinator concerning protest are final. Games in which protest is upheld will be displayed from the point of protest. Number 5 is default. A default fee is required to enter intramural activities and must be paid as soon as the form is submitted. Default fees will be refunded and conclusion of term which they entered. Team not ready to play at the scheduled time for lost portion of their default fee. Number 6 is postponement. Games postponed due to the inclement weather or field conditions and or as advised by the intramural office will be rescheduled for the next available intramural playing day. There are no postponement or rescheduling of regular games due to the team or personal conflicts. Number 7 is the accessories. No jewelry or body accessory may be worn during any intramural sports activity. Next view is the fair play philosophy. All participants are expected to adhere to an honesty policy with regard to the eligibility rules, interpretations, and administrative procedure. In order to encourage proper conduct and to maintain control during the game, sports officials shall make decision on whether to warn, penalize, or eject players of a team. Next is the code of conduct. Without opponent, you have no game, no contest, and no fun. The spirit of fair play is based on cooperation, high standard of integrity, and cooperative competition. Next is the penalty. Upon being penalized or ejected from any game or contest, the individuals involved are automatically suspended from further intramural competition and must arrange an appointment with the intramural coordinator to petition for probationary status. Next is the team captains. Team captains are vital link in the communication process between the intramural officials and the individual participants. They are responsible for obtaining and understanding all intramural information and passing it on team members. Another is the awards. Official intramural championship shirts and or special sponsor prizes will be presented to all winners upon the conclusion of each activity. Intramural awards not claimed by participants after 1 month of each term shall be forfeited. Next is referees. Officials deserve the players' highest respect because they represent the character and integrity of the game. Students interested in working as intramural sports referee are encouraged to contact the intramural coordinator. In the health and safety, the safety of participants and staff is given the utmost importance of the concern by intramural office to reduce hazards and prevent injury and accident. Environmental and equipment check should be done prior to the start of the game to assure maximum safety of all players. We have to check the health that the school strongly recommended. The individual player must have regular physical examination before the participating in intramural sports program. Sickly athlete or the physically injured individual should not be allowed to participate in the athletic games. First aid, also the basic first aid for the minor injuries and accident must be available at the intramural site. And also the insurance. All participants must have adequate medical or health life insurance and be responsible for their own health. Rex is also participants hereby that acknowledge that he or she has voluntarily chosen to participate in the intramural sports program. The participants understand the risks involved in the program and he or she recognizes the program and the activities involved risks of injury, agrees to accept any all associated with it, including but not limited to property damage or loss, minor bodily injury, severe bodily injury, and death. So, the participant also must read acknowledgement form or rex agree to the following, especially the sports attire. So each participant must wear athletic type shoes for indoor activities. Only non-marking court shoes are permitted. For outdoor activities, only rubber or sole cleats may be worn. Metal cleats are not permitted. Team shirts of similar color and style are recommended for football, soccer, and volleyball, basketball, football, and ice hockey, and for hockey. And also the facilities and equipment. So there are some of the material equipment needed for each game intramurals. We have the basketball, the table tennis, volleyball, and badminton. In the basketball, we have the court, ball, stopwatch, whistle, score sheet. And the table tennis is also table, ball, racket, post, and net, score sheet. On the volleyball, court, ball, post, and net, whistle, and score sheet. And also the badminton, court, shuttlecock, racket, post, and net, and score sheets. And so on and so forth. And we have also to consider the sports officials. So the term officials is defined as a group of individuals that have undergone rigid training in sports officiating and referee course that control the manage the game. Sports officiating is a part of sports management which deals directly with the proper conduct of the game to allow the game to progress with a little interference as possible. So there are two types of sports official. We have the field or the court officials, and the other one is the table officials. Please take note of this, that the physical fitness, everything from emotional strength to perfect balance, from wonderful figure to an inner peace. Then we have the three elements of fitness are the strength, the suppleness, and stamina. Warm-up exercises are excellent for improving basic body movement. That's all for today's lesson. In your module, please answer carefully. For more updates, please monitor our eClass online learning system. Thank you and goodbye. My name is Ronaldo B.